Hey guys, it's Steve, Basketball with Steve. This is a live video, by the way. So today I just want to talk about NBA free agency, and I'm not going to be like politically correct. I'm just going to speak my mind without trying to be, polite and stuff like that. But anyway, I am playing live, by the way, so I might play really bad. So let's first start off with Kevin Durant. The thing about Kevin Durant is I don't have a problem with him leaving OKC. I never did. Where the problem to me came from is, why would you leave a team that is a top team in the West and you go to the team that literally just embarrassed you in the Western Conference Finals? I wouldn't care if they didn't play each other in the Western Conference Finals and then he went to Golden State. If the Warriors didn't beat the Thunder in the Western Conference Finals and then he went to Golden State. Let's say OKC made it to the finals and then lost to LeBron. Then he was like, okay, I need to play with Golden State in order to beat LeBron. I would understand that, but I have no competitive respect. And, I lost a whole bunch of respect for him. How do you go to the team that just came back from a 3-1 deficit against you and embarrass you in the Western Conference Final? That doesn't make sense, That's where the problem comes in. The problem isn't that he left OKC. The problem is the team that he went to just beat him in the Western Conference Finals. If he went to the Clippers, I wouldn't care. If he went to the Warriors and they didn't play each other, I wouldn't care. Or if he beat the Warriors and then he went to the Warriors after because he couldn't get past LeBron, I wouldn't care. But good block. Just the simple fact that you go to the team that literally just beat you, Lob City, is pretty embarrassing, to say the least. I respect his decision. He's a grown man. He could do whatever he wants to do. And he definitely earned that right to, just like every other human being in the United States. But it's just, I can't get over the fact that you went to the team that just beat you. That's like LeBron, for example, in 2008, going to the Boston Celtics, or 2009 and 2010, going to the Celtics because he couldn't get past the Celtics, during that 3-year period, or going to the Orlando Magic because he couldn't get past the Orlando Magic. That is what, separates LeBron's decision from Kevin Durant. And people were saying, oh, it's the same thing. It's nowhere near the same thing. Where LeBron James, his team was 66-16, but it was a 1-on-5 out there in the playoffs. Let's be real. He's the reason why Mo Williams was an All-Star in 2009. Let's be real for a second. And then Dwayne Wade didn't have a team. All he had was Udonis Haslem and Mario Chalmers. So, which are two really good role players. So when LeBron came and Chris Bosh came, it's different than going to a team that just won 73 games or that just beat them in, the Eastern Conference Finals. It's different than what Kevin Durant did. It's way different. And for people that saying it's the same thing, you either are a LeBron James hater, or you're a biased and delusional Kevin Durant fan, or you just, you never played sports, so you don't understand the competitive nature of it. So that's where my problem comes in with Kevin Durant leaving Oklahoma City for the Golden State. Ooh, look at that spin move. Oh, come on, you gotta give that to me, 2K, for the Golden State Warriors. That's where my problem comes in. Now, I want to talk about the next biggest free agency with Dwayne Wade. Dwayne Wade to the Chicago Bulls. That was a really crazy. I did not expect that. I went ahead expecting to wake up seeing Dwayne Wade re-signed with Miami. That's really what I expected to see. But when I woke up, my friend John texted me and he's like, Dwayne Wade just signed with the Bulls. And that was 3 in the morning. I usually wake up around 4, go to the gym, but whatever. So I'm like, what? I was like, no way. I didn't believe it at first. And then I looked it up. I was like, oh no, what happened? And he left for $7 million more. But it's not the fact that he wanted more money. The thing is, they don't respect him. They think, okay, you were good when you were young, now you just washed up. That's pretty much how they were treating him. And it's really sad because he's always taken a back seat throughout his career. He was never the highest paid Heat player, even though he was the best player in Miami Heat franchise history. He made the Miami Heat the Miami Heat. He's the reason they have 3 NBA titles because of him. And it's so weird next year when we're going to see him in a Chicago Bulls jersey. This is going to be so weird. And I really thought he'd be one of those once-in-a-generation franchise players like Kobe Bryant, Tim Duncan, Dirk Nowitzki, I even thought LeBron was going to be like that as well, but obviously he went to Miami, etc. But, it's a weird situation. Lob City coming. Oh my goodness. No, he didn't. LeBron just got... I'm sorry for getting off topic, but are you kidding me? He just went between the legs on Draymond Green. Oh my gosh. That's crazy. Oh, by the way, the thing about the Cavaliers, like, I'll get back to Dwayne Wade in a second, but you see these jerseys that LeBron 06, 07, and they had those jerseys since he was drafted all the way up to 2010, and then they restarted the franchise because he left. But, they need to go back to those jerseys and the blue and because those all yellow ones are hideous. But anyway, back to Dwayne Wade. So yeah, I thought D Wade would be like one of those once in a generation players. You cannot guard Chris Bosh. I thought D Wade would be one of those once in a generation players that, one of the superstars that stay with one organization the entire time and make that team. But it's truly sad that, it had to end that way. Pat Riley really just... How are you going to put Kevin Durant over Dwayne Wade, I know you had a slight chance of getting KD, but let's be real for a second. Even if you could have, Dwayne Wade is just all of a sudden irrelevant. Did you not see what Dwayne Wade did in the playoffs this year? Like, he's the reason why they beat Charlotte. If it weren't for him taking over, forcing Game 7, they wouldn't have beaten Charlotte. And if it weren't for him, they wouldn't have won to a Game 7 against the Toronto Raptors. And the craziest part is that was all without Chris Bosh. So imagine, and they're saying Chris Bosh is back next year. Steal that. So imagine when Chris Bosh is back. Like, you know what I mean? How are you going to allow your franchise player to leave when your other franchise player is coming back from an injury? Or health concerns, That's where I understand why Dwayne Wade left. But I'm also kind of upset that he left and disappointed that it all ended that way because, again, man, like, Dwayne Wade is one of those players who's like, he's just like a childhood hero, to be honest. Oh, come on, you gotta make that, Bosh. He's like a childhood hero. He's the humble guy. He's the guy that no one ever talks about. Like, you guys think about it. When D Wade When D Wade was in his prime, like, no one would ever talk about him being the best player in the world. Yeah, you had Skip Bayless occasionally saying, "Oh yeah, D Wade's the best." Oh, he's Kobe versus LeBron. They threw Melo in for a little bit. They threw Kevin Durant in for a little bit, but it was mostly Kobe and LeBron. But no one would ever say, "Oh, Dwayne Wade's the best player in the world." But he truly was for a good 4 or 5 year stretch. And, it's sad that he never got the recognition he deserved, but it just happens, man. Sometimes relationships end badly. And that's why he sent that tweet a few days before he made his decision. Relationships are important, people, because he felt disrespected by Pat Riley. So sad that it ended that way. But I want to talk about Dwight Howard now. So Dwight Howard going to Atlanta doesn't make sense to me. I mean, that's just like for good. Oh my goodness, 2 blocks in a row. That's like a good for no trade. You know what I mean? It's like, not trade, signing. It's like, he's gonna dominate next season, no doubt about it. Probably 20-10 around there. And one, probably around 20-10, 21, maybe 22 max and 10. But I don't see the Atlanta Hawks getting deep. Now, the Eastern Conference is really dominant now. They were dominant over the West last year, but the reason why I said the West was still better is because the West had more contending teams. What I mean by that is, yeah, the East had better records as a whole, but if you look at it, the top 3 contending teams, or the top 4, 3 of those top 4 contending teams were in the Western Conference, and there was only one real contending team in the East, which were the Cleveland Cavaliers. So, that's cash. But yeah, so another player that's going to dominate next year is Chris Bosh. It's going to be like Toronto Bosh because he's going to be the number 1 option. Going to average probably 24 and 10 like he used to. People forget about this guy, and it's truly sad that some of these players get forgotten about, because some of these players are really good players. Like Chris Bosh, I would still take him over any big man in the NBA now, including Anthony Davis and DeMarcus Cousins. Why? Overall consistency. He's one of those players that throughout his career he's been a consistent player. But not only that, his true value. He can shoot the ball. He can take you off the dribble. He can post you up. He can size you up. He has incredible footwork. He's really quick. He's a great defensive player. He's one of the best all-around players. Oh my goodness. Talking about him, he gets swatted by Davis. He's one of the best all-around players in the NBA, and it's just truly sad. No one realizes it. Like I feel like I'm the only one that thinks that, and it's only because the last few years he's had to take it. Excuse me for that. The last few years he's had to take in a backseat to LeBron and D Wade. But now that it's his team, I'm telling you guys right now, he's gonna dominate next season. It's gonna be incredible. Let's talk about the Indiana Pacers. So Jeff Teague, incredible pickup by the Indiana Pacers. They finally have a great point guard. Paul George is gonna do what Paul George does. I predict around 22, maybe 23, 24, and 10. Draymond Green, you need to stop dunking on me. That's fucked up, and I'm losing. But it's all good. But yeah, so it was a really incredible free agency. Shocking to say the least. I would say it is the weirdest free agency I've ever been a part of. I mean, it was weirder than 2010. Because 2010 was weird because we had LeBron leave, we had Chris Bosh leave, and then also in 2011 we had Carmelo go to the New York Knicks. It was an incredible situation. So the next question is, what's going to happen to Russell Westbrook? Russell Westbrook, in my honest opinion, is going to have to finish out this final year with the Oklahoma City Thunder. The only way he will not finish out the season is if he gets traded to a team that he wants to go to and that he gets keys that he'll re-sign and extend the contract with them. Because if he gets traded, that team is pretty much just renting Russell Westbrook for the remainder of the season. And most likely, Oklahoma City is not going to trade him until the trade deadline, just so they can do as good as possible during the regular season, try and attract more free agents during the offseason. So that's what's going to happen. And, I kind of feel bad for Russell Westbrook. He's in a really tight situation, which is why I hate these situations where a player waits till the last second and doesn't even tell the organization. Like, if I were in the NBA, and, let's say I was drafted to the Knicks or something, and, they're asking, are you leaving or are you staying? I'll be like, I'm staying my entire career. I'm never going to leave the Knicks, no matter how bad the situation is. But some players aren't drafted to their favorite team. So that's kind of understandable, but, I just hate how sometimes they leave them in, oh, you're such a hack. How sometimes they just leave them in dry positions. Like, now, the Oklahoma City Thunder have to start a complete rebuild. They go from being a top 3 contending team in the NBA to being a team that needs to rebuild and probably going to be one of the worst teams in the league. Sort of like with LeBron when LeBron left Cleveland. It's going to be just like that. And now Russell Westbrook, again, he's going to have to finish out the season with them because a team's going to have to be stupid to give up some players for a trade to get Russell Westbrook only to lose him in the offseason again. It's not going to make sense, and it doesn't make sense if you're a GM trying to make trades. It's not logical. If you're going to trade, give up some of your players. I thought LeBron was going to drive. Give up some of your players just to get some solid role players. To get Russell Westbrook and then to lose him, it doesn't make sense. So those are just pretty much the biggest topics, from the free agency. Again, it was one of the weirdest free agencies in NBA history, in my opinion. The most shocking one to me, honestly, was Dwayne Wade to Chicago. That hit me harder that hit me 20 times harder than CP3, I see you, than Kevin Durant to the Warriors. Just because, Kevin Durant, he's still young, and, all you guys can agree with me, we grew up watching Dwayne Wade in Miami. And again, I really thought Dwayne Wade would be one of those once-in-a-generation that plays for the exact same team throughout his entire career. Unfortunately, things didn't happen that way. And now, again, I'm telling you guys this now, Chris Bosh is going to dominate next season. Where are you going, Curry? Russell Westbrook's going to dominate next season. You know what I mean? So, my predictions for MVP next year, if it's not, I have 3 players that I'm going to say now are going to be the top 3 contending Most Valuable Player award players. Actually, 4. So, it's either going to be, in order, it's going to be Russell Westbrook, LeBron James, Carmelo Anthony, or Chris Bosh. Now, the reason why I say Russell Westbrook is because if that team can somehow make it to a top maybe 5, maybe even 6 spot in the Western Conference without Kevin Durant, he's definitely going to win MVP because the dude is going to average 30, 10, and 10. He's going to average really close to a triple-double. Heck, he might even average close to a triple-double. So, that's that. And we have LeBron. Obviously, LeBron's going to do what LeBron does. So that's why I think LeBron's going to do it. And the reason why I don't have Curry or KD in it is because, I don't see them winning MVP. It's going to be the same scenario when LeBron first went to Miami. It's going to go to someone else before it goes to Kevin Durant, or if it even ever goes to KD. Lob City. Oh, why'd you stop running, man? So yeah. And then why do I have Carmelo Anthony? Because I predict the Knicks winning anywhere from, I would say, 50 to 55 wins. Yeah, probably winning 50 to 55 games. And obviously Carmelo Anthony is the leader of that team, so that's why I have him at number 3, just like in 2013. And for number 4, I predict the Miami Heat will make the playoffs still. And I predict maybe top 5 seed, maybe 6 seed. And obviously this man right here that's shooting is going to dominate. Oh, I just won the game. Is going to dominate. So those are my, just thoughts on the whole free agency thing. Those are my MVP predictions. So anyway, let me know what you get. And yes, guys, Chris Bosh is one of my favorite players. These 5 players right here are my favorite players of all time, if anyone was asking. But anyway, it's been Steve. Let me know what you guys think in the section below. And also, please tell me, do you think Chris Bosh is really undervalued? Because I personally think, in terms of value and talent and skill, he's still top 10 in the NBA. That's my opinion. And I still think he's the best big man in the NBA.